In our latest segment of Staying Healthy Together, I want to take a look again about long-term impacts post-COVID and how we can be as healthy as possible. And what I'd like to do is take a look at some numbers. They're from the University of Washington. That's the group that has that scientific and metric study analysis portal where they look at numbers and they deal with what will happen down the road, projecting different scenarios. So what they did was they decided to take a look at what if 95% of people in this country actually wore masks? Now, you know I've been talking about the importance of wearing masks after you're vaccinated because it helps protect others. But that's a nice thing to say, but what does it really mean? So here's the deal. Right now, we have a certain number of people being vaccinated, and based on those numbers, if you look at it, the overall number of deaths will be 618,523 by August 1st. Now, depending on when you're seeing this report, we've already lost about 560,000 people to the virus. So what they're saying is there'll be another 58,000 deaths, which could occur by August 1st based on present statistics and the number of people being vaccinated. All right, so we have that number. It's a devastating number, but that number is 618,523. So then they looked at, consider the number of people who are being vaccinated, projecting it the way it's happening, and they can do that. And they said, what if 95% of people wore masks? Now, we're not at 95%, but let's just assume people said, hey, I'm going to wear a mask. It helps out other people, and I'll take that sacrifice personally because I know it helps others. Let's just say they could do that. The number drops to 604,413 deaths by August 1st. So what we're looking at is 14,000 people. 14,000 lives in the United States alone could be saved if 95% of people wore masks. I think it's hard to argue that. It could be 13,000, it could be 15,000, but we're talking about 14,000 lives. Now, to give you an idea of what 14,000 lives really means, because you can get lost in these numbers, on September 11th, 20 years ago, and obviously we're going to have all sorts of memorials and we should never forget that day. On September 11th, 20 years ago, the number of deaths were exactly 2,977. So about 3,000 people died on September 11th. And if 95% of us could wear masks, 14,000 lives could be saved. I mean, just think about that impact. Now, I know masks are emotional. I know they're political. I know there's a lot of concerns. But what you need to understand, and this is really important, is that the virus is not political or emotional or philosophical. Mathematical calculations are not emotional or political or philosophical. The reality here is 14,000 lives could be saved if 95% of people wore masks. Each of us has an individual decision to make. I'd like to think many of us will make the decision to help others.